where growth is intentional and impact is inevitable. So we ask that you don't just watch, engage with us. Don't just listen, but learn with us. And don't just sit back. Come take a seat at the table, because we are just getting started. Good evening, everyone, and happy Monday to each of you. Welcome back to Broadcasting Results with Rouse. And tonight, you all, I have a lovely, lovely guest, Miss Eileen Patonay, who is with the Waccamaw region. She covers the regional workforce, and I'll allow her to go a little bit more into it, but through South Carolina Department of Employment and Workforce. She covers like three different counties: Horry, Georgetown, and Williamsburg. And if I'm missing one, I'm sure she would add that in there. However, she pretty much does the work for you. So if you in these areas, in these counties, you all have had an opportunity to engage with her. But what I love about the work that she does, it comes from a genuine place. It allows you to connect through education, industries, and opportunity. So tonight, you all again, I welcome Miss Eileen to the broadcast.
Thank you, Dr. Rouse. I am so grateful. I didn't know we'd have applause. Thank you, Dr. Rouse. I'm so grateful to have an opportunity to talk with you. When I see you, we're both always on the fly at events, and we say we should talk. So thank you for the invitation.
Yes, ma'am. And thank you again for joining us. Before we really get into the work that you do, I want people to kind of know you, because I love just your spirit and just your connection, as I mentioned earlier, as you go throughout these counties every day, traveling near and far. You're making connections. But I think the special place that I love more is an inspiration, whether you're on the workforce side or on the college side. You kind of bridge the gap to both of them. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what just inspired your passion for workforce development?
So I do envision myself as a bridge, and I do literally cross a lot of bridges going from, and you had my counties correct, Horry, Georgetown, and Williamsburg County. They're all very unique, very diverse, lots of different strengths. I like to say I have three counties and I have three sons, and each one really is my favorite. Um, so when I travel and when I go around, I'm meeting with industries. I'm finding out what now, what will you be doing in the future? What skills do you need? And I'm bringing that back to our school districts, to our teachers, to our colleges. Here's what's coming. I meet with our economic developers. I keep a pulse on what's happening in the state, because even though my focus is local, I'd like our local community to have a footprint throughout the state as well, with employees, with suppliers, things like that. As far as what got me started in that, it is actually an interesting story. And I want to share it because you never know how you will touch someone. And there's probably volunteers and people all around us that have what I like to call transferable skills and an opportunity to make a difference, which is what I try to do every day. So when my three boys were in school, I was a PTO volunteer. One day, the school counselor said, "Can you help me with the career day?" I said, "Sure." And I got so interested, and the community was so open minded about wanting to come in. We decided to make it a career week. Then it became a career month. It became an annual event. Meanwhile, I'm working a day job. I'm doing this as a volunteer.
Okay.
And so, fast forward probably 2 or 3 years into it, the principal calls me into his office, which I hadn't been called into the principal's office since high school, um, and says, "There's a job." And literally back in those days, it was posted, at the district office. And he said, "I noticed it's what you're doing for free and you should apply."
Hmm.
So I did, and I got the job, and I had a terrific mentor named Rena. Um, I ended up getting certified in career development. So I came to it with a business degree, a theater minor, and then I got certified in this. So I think that's what gives me an open mind. Um, when folks are looking, what are you doing now? If this, then that. If you're looking at another career, or
Mm.
students, what are you involved with in school, and how can we transfer that to a career and bridging that gap?
Absolutely. So I love a couple of things I want to kind of recap that you've shared. And if you all are just tuning in, if you have any questions as we go throughout the night, please put them in the comments area. But again, we just want to say thank you for tuning in. So I love the fact that you mentioned the local footprint, right? And also talk about our economic development, but yet our industries. And I love how I'm sitting here thinking like the triangle, how you talk or have conversation with industries. You make sure your connection is with economic development, but at the same time you make sure that while you out there on those levels, you also bring it back to our local schools. And I love that, because I think that's a missing piece that sometimes we don't always have, is to know that what's coming down the pipeline, because we have oftentimes our young people that are graduating may not be college ready or interested even at that time. But if they know that certain industries are coming or coming within their counties, right there is workforce development. So I appreciate you just sharing. Just that keyword was footprint to me.
Well, and you've hit the nail on the head, because that's exactly what we're doing in
Mhm.
Bucksport, part of Horry County. We have a huge boat manufacturer that's coming here from Dubai,
Oh
and
wow.
there'll be a lot of jobs. And Horry Georgetown Tech is now building, I believe it should be done by this spring, a marine institute, and they're already doing motors. So it's staying ahead. And I don't know if you've had Tyrone Wilson on.
Yes,
He's
ma'am.
already brought his youth through to tour the Marine Institute. So we're saying you're still in school. This career is coming to your area.
Absolutely. And that's the one thing, as you mentioned, Mr. Tyrone name, the one thing I love when you say local footprint, because it allows local organizations like his that are working with young people to go ahead and get their mind thinking ahead of time, to get them
Exactly.
energized for what they could possibly be doing. So I appreciate his connection, that he continued to stay pretty much ahead of the game. And he's definitely a game changer for the work that he do and for what you offer as well.
And I want to point out, in addition to saying, here's what you can be, when they go back to school and they're sitting in math class, they'll be thinking, the reason I'm here is I'll need this math to build boats, or, whatever is coming down the pike. And we do have so many good partners in Williamsburg County that open their doors to that workforce pipeline.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Uh, and I want to go back to your story, because I do find that quite interesting. The fact that you had three boys in school, and as most parents that have a little time to volunteer in some type of fashion or form, and here you volunteering, right? Not knowing that you're planting the footprint pretty much to your now long term job. So I just find that very interesting, that in doing it, you didn't even know you would be right where you are today,
And it
still
was that
helping other
principal
people.
who believed in me.
Yes.
I went on to be National Career Development Facilitator of the Year in 2011. And when I was in high school, I had no idea that was something I would do.
Mm. And you say that because I wrote down here when you were talking about your major and your minor, like you went for business with a minor in theater, and I'm like, wow, right? But you never know full circle, just what path any of us are led on. We might have started in one area and end up not knowing some of the things that we do kind of come full circle. So I guess I say I appreciate you not even knowing, but yet knowing you were planting your own footprint.
Well, and even going back before that, and this is, I think, what helps me relate with our students, is I thought I wanted to be a nurse, and my girlfriend and I became, back in the day, candy stripers.
Mm.
Um, and I cried every day, sick children, the elderly. I was not cut out for it. My girlfriend did go on to be a nurse and got a job in New York City as a nurse, but I think it showed that I wanted to be in a helping career.
Absolutely.
And I think just like I found out what I could not do, that's just as valuable.
Absolutely.
So open your doors. Businesses need to open their doors for shadows and interns because it's figuring out what you want to do as well as what you don't want to do. And from the business perspective, it is like an interview. And very frequently, our students do internships that turn into jobs. And it might be beneficial to learn now that Eileen cannot be a nurse. So St. Peter's Hospital would not have wanted to hire me.
Yes. So we did mention the counties that you cover, which is Georgetown, Horry, and Williamsburg. But even knowing you and traveling throughout these counties, can you explain for our viewers exactly what does the regional workforce advisor does?
So we are, so our boss is in the governor's cabinet. We're a cabinet agency of the governor. It's a mandated position. We're charged with energizing and developing a South Carolina workforce pipeline by helping educators. One teacher can reach hundreds of students a year, and if I can help give them the tools, send teachers out to educators and industries, we help businesses because they're developing their workforce. And obviously, we're helping students, we're helping parents guide those students to where those jobs are. And it's all encompassing, it's not just here you go. In Williamsburg, we've got a very comprehensive program with Mr. Torrance Wilson where the students are practicing resumes, mock interviews, and I want to point out that Torrance and all of our career and technical education teachers, I mean directors, have an advisory board. And Torrance is the one that makes the magic happen in Williamsburg County Schools. And I even printed out a list of all the credentials the students get from OSHA certified welding, CNA,
Hmm.
all those programs are in demand.
Okay. Good. So when I'm hearing you say it, and that would lead me to this question because many people hear like workforce development, but some are not really sure like what does that mean. So you kind of explain so that viewers, when they're going throughout these three counties and looking for employment or looking for a career path, like what does workforce development means?
So Eileen's version or definition would be it starts with early ages of school and what I call the essential skills. Getting along with others. They put their desks together and you're sitting as a team. We may not like everybody on our team. We may not want to play with them or have them over for lunch, but we're going to work together. We're going to find commonality, showing up on time, doing your homework. So, all of that is part of workforce development. And those are, in my opinion, those are skills that we're learning in school, we're learning at home. And that's a way parents can help students too, is by even chores around the house is a minor step to workforce development. As you get older, it gets more intense with site visits, job shadows, internships, things like that.
And I appreciate the way you just kind of broke that down, because it all centered around skill set. And oftentimes, young people as we come through, we don't think about the necessary, essential, as you mentioned, skills that can help benefit us when we go into the workforce. So I would,
Don't ever underestimate that. You know,
yes,
the
ma'am.
chores you do around the house are teaching you work ethic.
Thank you for that. So I want to lean to ask a question when we talk about the work that you do because you work in a lot of high schools. So what advice now that we are gearing back up for school to our high schoolers that would probably be trying to narrow down like what career path they want to go on, what advice would you give them in preparing for careers?
So in Williamsburg County in particular, we've got some great career coaches in our schools. If you're debating, talk to them, talk about um, maybe taking a career assessment to see, what the results of that are to spark an interest. If there's something you're interested in, ask about doing a job shadow. Um, and I would just say start thinking about it. Talk to them about what's your favorite class. If you don't like science, then you probably don't want to major in something that is a lot of science. Get involved, volunteering. By volunteering, even, reading to children, maybe you'd like to be a teacher. Keep that GPA up regardless of what you want to do because that's going to be money later.
Right.
And it'll be money whether you go to a 4-year school or a 2-year school. South Carolina has the lottery money and also has the SC Wins program.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Again, viewers, if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments area. But we do want to thank you again for tuning in. Um, I want to go something you just said about taking like I guess what I would call like assessments to kind of see where your skill set falls at. And what I also love for the work that I've seen you done for many years now is you definitely work with a lot of industries in regards to getting young people out there to visit them. And you mentioned Mr. Tyrone name as well. And I know he does a great job. I love when he carried them out to Bowen and some of these other industry to really get kids to see it before they truly, truly walk into it, right? And so that's also another way to pique their interest where they might have never thought that they wanted to work on airplanes. Here they see pretty much behind the scenes what it could look like. So, how can students now that probably haven't had that opportunity begin exploring careers before graduation?
Well, Tyrone reaches out to me, and together we brainstorm. So the students, I'd rather they reach out to their school counselor, to someone like Tyrone, and tell us what you'd like to see. I got an email today from a teacher saying the speakers we had last year were great, and I said, "Who's on your wish list this year?" All we can do is ask. You got to
Hmm.
ask and see if we get. And I want to point out that Tyrone has gone to Boeing many times, but we've also taken the students to Pittsburgh Institute for Aeronautics. So we show them the big picture of this is okay, if this interests you, then here's where you can go to school.
Thank you. Thank you for that. We do have two questions here, and I just want to make sure for viewers, I will pose questions, but I want to make sure that these fall in Miss Eileen's field specifically. While she is under the workforce development, it may be other areas that doesn't necessarily fall under some of the questions. But we do have this question here that says, "How does the lottery program and SC Wins work?" Are you
So that, yeah, that is through your college, your technical college, and I can send you links if you want
okay?
to post it. But you would number one, parents, and this is really important to who's ever asking that and who's ever listening. In order to get that money, you must complete the FAFSA. It's that form when you go to college, and the actual FAFSA. All of our school districts will help you. I partner with the South Carolina Commission on Higher Ed, and we have a real easy website called SC Can Go. And a lot of times people don't want to talk about what they make or put that information out there. But in order for you or your child to get the money, you need to complete that form. And we've got a goal to, and actually, Hemingway High School a few years ago was recognized for a high percentage of the students applied to college and completed their FAFSA. So
Great job.
we're about to embark on a 3-step college season, if you will. college application day, and I just looked it up, and I can tell you. I'll email it to you. Oh,
Okay,
I know when it is. Kingstree High will be on September 11th from 9 to 11. That's step one. Step two is you complete your FAFSA. And Miss Sherry Fulton is there, and she will help you. Step three, we decide where we're going to college, and we have a big celebration in Columbia, which Williamsburg participated at the State House last year, and it was a blast. I was so proud of the students.
good, good. I have another following question, which is a great question given where we are dealing with AI. And so the question is, um, would love to know what does the future of workforce look like 5 to 10 years from now, especially in the AI environment, and is Williamsburg County prepared for it? And it's not, how should Williamsburg County be preparing for it?
So I do feel that Torrance and the high school are on it and are preparing students. And I'm getting the feeling that this question is more technology related. And I think I don't know enough to answer it intelligently, but I can tell you that it is coming. And we need to teach our students how to use it respectfully, how to put the prompts in, how to give credit when it's AI. But I want to remind everybody that AI is not taking over the world when it comes to plumbing, welding. You know, feel the heat we've had. AI is not going to come fix your air conditioner.
Absolutely.
So do not discount the trades. That electrician, um, they're not going to be your nurses. I don't see Williamsburg Hospital having robot nurses for quite a while. So be mindful that there's plenty of careers out there that will not be taken over by AI.
Absolutely. Another question here is that we mentioned about workforce development, existing partnerships with local school. What strategies have proven most effectively in increasing Williamsburg County students' interest in high demand careers? And how can CTE teachers like himself, workforce development, and local employers collaborate to strengthen that pipeline?
Contact me, contact Torrance. We'd love to have a more vibrant pipeline. A really good example of an engaged employer. Well, I can think of a few, but off the top of my head, for years now, we've worked with Embroidery Solutions. They've brought students in, they've got an accredited United States Department of Labor Apprenticeship Carolina program. Um, we bring teachers through. It's a great business. They've got open minds, open hearts to bring students in. Sparky, who works there, said, "How about we start our own Williamsburg Workforce Academy?" And
Mm,
what was awesome about that is this is usually the kind of thing Torrance and I are asking people to do. And here we had a business saying, let's do more for the students. Let's talk to middle schoolers, high schoolers, show them, let's get mentors in the field. And that to me showed it's working and partners are invested.
thank you for that. To the question, you could definitely reach out to her. She also mentioned Mr. Torrance Wilson, who is a big advocate for the work that is being done there in Williamsburg County. So that would also be another contact in regards to that particular question. Um, I want to go back to something you mentioned as we talk about. Well, you talked about your interesting way of kind of coming into this field, which started out as pretty much volunteering at your son's school. And so when I think about that more and more, I guess I pose the question like, what advice would you give for someone that is changing career later in life?
So later in life, I would go to our SC Work Center, and there are career counselors there that can talk to you about transferable skills, about going back to school. Because those SC wins money and lottery money, if you haven't used up some of that, you might be able to go back to school if it's an in-demand career for free.
Mm,
So I would absolutely look into that. You know, recently I was at a business that unfortunately was closing. And in between our sessions, there was a lady cleaning the tables. And I said, "What will you do?" And we talked about her going to the hospital,
mm.
where maintenance and things like that are really important. So I fully believe in transferable skills. I mean, think about teaching too, because we're always looking for teachers.
Thank you for that. So when you mentioned looking for teachers, are there any specific, I guess to say, programs through you that would help someone that has not been or have had that past experience? Do you have anything to offer for individuals?
So, and it depends. I would go through human resources at Williamsburg County Schools for one to determine maybe there's some areas where they can fast track you. I'm also on the board of Coastal Carolina University Spadoni School of Education. And Dr. Richmond there can look at any experience you have and see how they can help you get a teaching degree if that's what you want to do. And of course, Dr. Angela Rush is just the guru of helping everybody pass their praxis.
Thank you for that. So when we talk about employers in all these three different counties that you work with, what benefits do employers receive when they are engaging with schools and workforce programs?
So they're meeting their future workforce, which is priceless. And if they sign on with Apprenticeship Carolina, which I think is a phenomenal program, there's tax credits for youth. The youth tax credit is on your South Carolina taxes. The youth tax credit is greater than the adult.
Okay. How does that how does that work for more like our nonprofit world? Is that anything that would help benefit them if they had like an apprenticeship or something?
Yeah,
That
they can get one. They won't get a tax credit.
okay.
Um, And in Horry and Georgetown County, we do have the Rise program out of Coastal Carolina University. It's actually a United Nations connected program. And in that, there's a lot of nonprofits that have partnered there, and you pay half of the intern salary, and the Rise grant pays the other half.
Okay, good, good. I just say that because I know we have a lot of young, as we mentioned earlier with Mr. Tyrone, who work with a lot of teenagers, and I was just curious to see, with us having these workforce programs and engaging with the schools, how can more employers or organizations such as his could definitely come to the table and see that they could kind of help entice young people to get more involved in their organization, but it's also benefits to the employer as well. So thank you for that.
Well, it's a resume booster. And if they are a state approved vendor, which Tyrone has gone through the process to become, then the RWAs can help fund certain things that fall within workforce development.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. So I guess I want to give you a moment. I know I've been kind of bouncing back and forth with questions, and thank you to the audience that are joining in. Again, if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments area. But right now, in regards to what you do, is there anything that you want to share specifically? Because I do want to give you that opportunity as well.
Um, yeah, I did. I made a couple of quick notes here.
Okay.
I do want to give a shout out to Miss Sherry Fulton. She did the Palmetto Pathways program through the South Carolina Manufacturing Alliance. And we've talked about local partnerships, but imagine getting a view statewide of state partners. And that's what Sherry did. She went all around South Carolina with a cohort of about a dozen other educators and learned about different businesses. And I'm proud of her for taking the initiative to apply, for getting in, and for completing it. That said, we do work with Boeing, we work with BMW, and they're great partners. And one reason we do that is because we want those suppliers coming here, making their automotive parts, making their aerospace parts, in our area, and we're honored to showcase our workforce. Um, so I did want to mention that. I also wanted to just put a plug in for Pathways to Possibilities. It's our eighth grade career expo that Williamsburg, Ori Georgetown students attend. It's put on by the Bunnell Foundation, and that'll be this January for every eighth grader in the county.
Okay. Okay. I definitely want to echo kudos to Miss Fulton for the work that she's doing out there. That's always great to have the local impact continue to expand statewide, and definitely to the Manel Foundation, who's definitely been doing some incredible work with a lot of different organizations as well. Another point of question we have here is how can churches partnership and take a greater impact and what workforce development is doing to assist local communities and schools.
So churches can host events. I've brought Boeing to a Father's Cup in Long, South Carolina. You know, we can set up a speaker series, a STEM series. We can do financial literacy in churches. If you've got the group, we can coordinate with you. Um, and a lot of times, sometimes we'll even have a church van bring students on a job shadow site. You know, do a company tour. So yeah, anything and actually sometimes churches and nonprofits can be more flexible than our school district can. I do a lot with the village group, and we can get so much interesting curriculum and learning in without the confines of the school day, the bus schedules. You know, there's a lot of moving pieces
Yes,
when you
ma'am.
want to schedule something.
Thank you for that. Another question here is what is the single biggest barrier preventing South Carolinians from accessing high quality sustainable employment, and what partnership do you wish exists to solve it?
I think the pieces are in place. I think it's finding the right employer and finding the right employee with the training. I think sometimes transportation in our rural areas
Mm,
can be an issue. And we've talked a lot about ride sharing. And I know, you know, the buses running and places like Palmetto Synthetics and Embroidery Solutions, they're right on the bus route.
mm.
So I am a believer that everything is there. We've just got to mesh it together. Get the training, get the training.
Yes, ma'am. Do you see where transportation is kind of me being more of a conversation at the table as you're having these conversations to see how it could work more with the rural areas? And I say that specifically going back to the question of churches, which sometimes have access to buses and vans. So how does those things, or do you believe that those things could potentially be a partnership as well?
Yeah, I really do. I really do. And if you want to bring students somewhere during a summer program, let me know. I work all year and we can arrange something. And I will say, and I feel badly I forget her name, but the lady who's running the Williamsburg transportation has been coming to Torrance's advisory meetings,
Okay.
which is a first to have them at the school district CTE, Career and Technical Advisory meeting. She cares.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Is there anything else? If you all have any more questions, please drop them in the comments area. I do want to ask another one as we talk about the education partnership, as you mentioned, Mr. Torrance Wilson here. Um, why do collaboration, or why is it that collaboration between education and businesses is so important?
It's essential to our success. It's essential to our economic development, to lifting families. Um, you know, without that, I just don't know where we would be. You
Uh,
know, and it brings relevance. It brings relevance into the classroom so our students will understand. And that's one reason we do things like educators in industry or tours. How many times are students passing embroidery solutions or the hospital and not knowing all the jobs? Hospitals aren't just doctors and nurses. There's phlebotomy, HVAC, electrical, you name it. So if we don't get folks out, how will they open their eyes? How will they have hope for a job in the future?
Yeah. Which I asked that because it led me back to the question that Mr. Salters asked in regards to like high quality sustainable employment. And I think sometimes we miss the educational piece based on just thinking that that's a business. Like you say, we ride by these places probably literally every day, and a child or a young person would just look at a hospital and be like, okay, I got to be a doctor and a nurse, and not knowing that, hey, you can be head of outreach, you could be front desk, you could be like, it's so many levels to an organization or a business that you can be a part of had we just pour more into them. So I'm grateful for his question as we talk about sustainability, but I asked that to you to kind of reinforce the importance of why those two things is yet beneficial, but we need both. So
Exactly.
thank you for that.
We need it all.
Yeah.
And we need everybody's support. We need parent support. We need business support. Our teachers are really trying to do it, and that's every day of school is workforce development.
Yes. So when we talk about parents here, because we know sometimes, hey, a child, whether that's about 10th grade, may start with like apprenticeship programs or just maybe some summer jobs. How could parents help better prepare our young people for today's workforce?
So number one, be open minded. It's good to tell them what you think, but take time to listen to what they want. Not everybody wants to go right away to USC and Clemson.
Mhm.
Maybe they do want to go to work. Maybe they want to go to Williamsburg Tech or Horry Georgetown Tech, where those classes will transfer. So I would listen and don't make them feel that they're letting you down if they don't out of the gate go to a 4-year school.
Absolutely.
Um, so that would be number one. Um, Hold them to chores and teach them how to manage their money, or invite us in and we can do a financial literacy workshop. Teach them the value of money and what things cost. Um, Make sure they do their homework. You know,
Yes, ma'am. Is there
the
current?
struggle is real. I
Yeah,
know.
yes, yes, ma'am.
But be there to support them and listen. Go to school when they have their college awareness nights and things like that. I want to point out I did mention college application day. When that happens at Kingstree High, students will be able to apply to a plethora of South Carolina colleges for free. The application fees get waived.
Good,
So you want to be asking your child about that. Hey, college application day is coming. Where will you apply?
good, good. Thank you for that. Do you have any examples of how veteran organization or veterans in general can be a resource in support of workforce development, especially maybe in schools? And a follow up to that is, are there any opportunities for the local guard organizations?
Sure. We would love to have you come in and be a speaker. We would love to have you help us with resume writing, mock interviews, things like that. Sure.
Okay. Now, do you specifically set those up, or that's based on each specific school counselor?
They can contact me and I can reach out to the school. They can go directly to the school, however they want. I would probably field a question like that to Miss Sherry Fulton to see what she was looking for. If they want to work with younger children, maybe we can introduce them to freedom readers. We can invite them to go. Fifth graders love to hear from people, you
Mm,
know.
okay. You mentioned like a financial class or maybe workshop. Is there anything that you all currently offer that may be online that people could take advantage of? That are you aware of at this moment?
That's a good question. I know we're doing it in schools. Let me check with, I don't know, does the Bank of Greece, I wonder, let me look into it. And
Okay.
if I let you know, you'll post it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm going to check with Greeleyville, Anderson Brothers, Bank of America. I'm thinking they do, they must do something.
Okay. I just say that just sometimes, like when kids are out of school, specifically like this past summer, that could have been another way that they kind of engage in online courses or different workshop to take advantage of, and even still being in school, they're just a refreshing course
Well,
that they.
they do it in our schools. They will be
Okay.
getting it in school.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I'll see if there are some online. There must be.
Okay. Thank you for that. Let's see. Do we have any more questions here in the chat?
While you're looking, I'll mention that we're excited. As I mentioned, I'm on the Spadoni Board of Visitors, and most of us are familiar with the movie Coach Carter. Have
Hmm.
you seen the movie?
Yes, ma'am.
So, the Coach Carter was a speaker at the BMW Supplier Conference this past May, and he agreed to come out and speak with our students at Coastal Carolina. And we'll be bringing about 350 high school students, including Kingstree and Hemingway High. So
Good.
we're looking forward to that September 22nd.
Oh man, that's going to be awesome. And I know if you have anything to do with it, it's going to be awesome.
I think it'll be fun. Yeah. And this is the Coach Carter, not Samuel Jackson.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, if you definitely get it to me, I'll definitely share it out. Uh, so, is there any other thoughts that you want to just share as we kind of draw near here? I would say before you have definitely, to me, shared a wealth of information, but I will take that lightly when I hear from you because you always have an inspiration or encouragement just to pour in or pour back into the people. And so I do gratefully thank you for the work that you are doing and will continue to do. But is there anything else that you want to share that you might have jotted down?
I want to thank you because you've taken time to shine a light on all the good things happening in our region and how can we learn about it. And I do see you at so much that I go to. So I know you're getting out and about too. So thank you for being a partner.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. We do have one other question that popped up. Are there any grants available to support some of these great initiatives?
Such as what initiative?
Let's see if they would add any other. Can you elaborate a little bit more on your question so she can kind of know the initiatives that you're speaking about? I'll give them another second or two to
So
be.
you do have the Waccamaw Community Foundation. If you're in Georgetown, there's Benell United Way. Excuse me, is always a good partner. And it's not a grant per se, but as I mentioned, Tyrone is a state vendor, so I'm able to help him with some of his transportation costs or things like that when does do workforce development, career development, post secondary visits, things like that.
So now that you say that, if we had a church that have transportation and wanted to carry some kids out, how would that work for them to partner with the work that
So it's hard to, unless the church would have to be a state approved vendor.
you. Okay.
But even if, in order for me to help with their transportation cost,
Hmm.
but if they don't need help with that, I'll still set it up. I can set up tours for you, industry tours or whatever you'd like. I can help connect you with that.
Okay.
If they want to tour Williamsburg Tech, Ori Georgetown Tech, Coastal, I can absolutely do that. There's no fee, and you know it can happen.
Okay. Sounds good. Again, I do want to give you a few minutes to close us out in your own way, and if it's anything else that you might have thought of that you didn't have a chance to mention,
I
but
have
want to.
one more thing on my list I did want to put a plug in for. I know there's a lot of women and folks listening. Men are welcome to attend as well. But March 17th, we're going to be having our second annual women's conference. The title will be Pressure to Power: Women Shaping Innovation, Influence, and Impact. And I'm honored to be putting that on with the South Carolina Department of Commerce.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that. And is that a flyer to be sent out as
I
well?
will, they're in draft right now.
Okay. So as soon as you know, you can send it to me. I'll get it out for
Okay.
you.
And there's sponsorships available and that kind of thing. But yeah,
Okay, thank you. So we're going to come to a close here. I do want to just offer the follow up to elaborate on what they were talking about in regards to initiatives. Although I know you mentioned your support in that, where you can help financially if you can, if they're a state vendor, and or if they just want the connection set up. But they did mention that it was like opportunities to bring trainings within schools, and many of these initiatives require funding. Many schools have technology, like Williamsburg County doesn't or don't. Grants could help. Robotics is a great example.
agree with robotics. And as far as that goes, I do help fund robotics in our schools. And Williamsburg County Schools can invoice me, and then I can help sponsor the teams. And as far as that goes, we look at corporate sponsors, things like that. But and the way we do it at Williamsburg County is the district invoices me, and then they see to it that the schools get the funds. But robotics is crucial. They're correct. And I'm honored to help support it.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you all for tuning in. I truly enjoyed the conversation. I think it was a great, great engagement of discussion. Mr. Tyrone Wilson say thank you for 10 years of friendship and partnership.
Thank
So
you,
we thank
Tyra.
you, Mr. Tyrone, for your continued work that you're doing with the young people in our rural areas, and just the expansion of getting them out there. Because what I do find or have find working with young people, they don't get to explore outside of their normal day to day unless it's someone else that are carrying them to these different places. And so you, Miss Eileen, Tyrone, and many others, I applaud all of you all for the work that you all are doing. To the Department of Workforce and Development, I thank you for just a platform of just allowing Miss Eileen just to be on tonight, just to talk a little bit more about the work that she's doing, and just the connections, the partnerships. So we need our industries, we need our school systems, and importantly, we need us as people to be able to take advantage of these things. And most importantly, if you're not college ready, it's okay. The workforce is still there. And I think one thing Miss Eileen pointed out tonight here is, whether you're a parent or guardian or just someone that a young person is looking to for advice, no pressure. It's just the encouragement of whatever path they want to take. They know they have one that they could do. So, Miss Eileen, I thank you again for tonight.
Thank
Always,
you.
for any information that you have or anything that I can help support of, please share it my way. And to our viewers that are listening in, if you ever want to take a seat at the table with Broadcasting Results with Rouse, just reach out. We will be glad to have you. Our mission is solely to connect, to engage, and keep our community informed. And so that,
Partnerships make us stronger. Thank you for being a partner.
yes, ma'am. Thank you again. Until next time, you all continue to tune in with Broadcasting Results with Rouse.